You know, one thing that always amazes me is how much we can learn about ourselves just by understanding the basic theories of human growth and development. It's like each of us is living out our own version of these big psychological stories.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is that these theories, like the ones from Erikson and Piaget, aren't just for psychologists. They really shape how teachers, parents, and even counselors approach people of all ages. When you see development as a lifelong process, it actually changes how you view challenges at every stage.
That brings up a good point. So many people think psychological development stops after childhood, but these models actually show that we keep changing, learning, and even facing new conflicts right into old age.
Exactly, and I think it's kind of comforting to know that growth and change don't just belong to kids and teenagers. Adults are still figuring things out too, just in different ways. It gives us a little more compassion for ourselves and the people around us.
So let's dive into Erikson's theory for a minute. He mapped out 8 different stages, right? Each one has this central challenge or crisis, like trust versus mistrust in infancy, or identity versus role confusion in adolescence.
Yeah, and what struck me is that every stage is kind of like a checkpoint. If you get the support or experiences you need, you move on with a new strength, like autonomy or integrity. But if you run into roadblocks, you might carry around doubts or regrets that can pop up later.
And he didn't just stop at childhood. There's intimacy versus isolation in young adulthood, generativity versus stagnation in middle age, and then integrity versus despair in old age. It's wild to think about how these stages play out in everyday life. Like when someone feels lost after retiring or struggles to connect in their 20s.
It's so true. Even the idea that you can revisit earlier challenges later on is pretty profound. Like, if someone misses out on a sense of trust as a kid, therapy or supportive relationships can help them heal that as an adult.
Switching gears, Piaget's theory fascinates me because it's all about how our thinking changes over time. He starts with babies learning through touch and movement and ends up with teenagers doing hypothetical reasoning.
That reminds me of when kids play pretend like using a stick as a magic wand. That's symbolic thinking, which is a big milestone in Piaget's pre-operational stage. But then, as they grow, they shift into logical thinking, like understanding that pouring water into a taller glass doesn't mean there's more water.
I love that example. And by adolescence, it's not just about what's in front of you. Teens start to ask those big what-if questions, think about justice or freedom, and even debate ethical dilemmas. It's wild watching that leap from concrete to abstract.
It is, though more recent research suggests kids sometimes reach these milestones earlier than Piaget thought. But his idea that we actively build our understanding of the world still shapes how classrooms are set up today.
That makes me think about how these theories show up in real life, especially in parenting and teaching. For example, Erikson's work reminds teachers to nurture initiative and confidence in young kids rather than just correcting them all the time.
Definitely. And Piaget's stages totally change the way we teach, too. Instead of just lecturing, you see teachers encouraging hands-on experiments or group problem solving, so kids can build knowledge in a way that fits their development.
I've seen that with parents too, giving toddlers some choices to help with autonomy, or letting preschoolers play pretend to foster initiative. Those little things actually support healthy development.
And for older adults, Erikson's idea of generativity explains why volunteering or mentoring can be so fulfilling. It's about leaving a mark and staying connected, not just looking back and reflecting.
Lately, I've been reading about how these classic theories have been expanded. Like Vygotsky brought in the social side, saying learning always happens through interaction. And Bowlby's attachment theory really builds on what Erikson started in infancy.
Absolutely. And we can't ignore how culture and technology shape development now. For example, social media gives teens new ways to explore identity, but it can also create extra pressure and confusion. Even things like educational apps or virtual reality are transforming how kids learn, aligning with Piaget's focus on active engagement.
Plus, more attention is being paid to mental health support at every stage. Early interventions, support for aging adults, and even guidance for parents are all ways we're using these theories to design real-world solutions.
That's so important, especially since challenges like anxiety, depression, or identity struggles can pop up at any age. Understanding where someone is developmentally helps us respond with more empathy and better tools.
So, when we put all these pieces together, what really stands out to me is that human development isn't a straight line. It's an ongoing process with ups and downs, twists and turns.
Exactly, and that's actually kind of hopeful. There's always room for growth, even in later life. Whether you're learning, healing from past experiences, or redefining your purpose after retirement, these theories remind us that change and resilience are possible at any age.
And by blending ideas from Erikson, Piaget, Vygotsky, and newer research, we get a much fuller picture of what it means to grow as a person. It's not just about reaching milestones, but about adapting, connecting, and finding meaning, no matter where you are in the journey.
Couldn't have said it better. If there's one takeaway, it's that understanding development is really about understanding people, including ourselves. And that opens the door to more patience, more support, and more opportunity for everyone to thrive.